And what's going on, fellow humans and resellers? It is I, James, RedemptionAgency.com, 22 years selling full-time on eBay. And away we go. All right, we're Tuesday morning. And yesterday I decided to do a deep dive into the last 3 years' numbers and really see what the difference was compared to this year. So I'm going to get a little bit into that. But first, how was your Cyber Monday? Mine was not as good as Saturday, but still $753. Not as good as last year, or the year before, but I kind of pieced together some things beyond a lot of the technical issues I feel are causing problems. Right now we're at 8:15 in the morning. I'm at $15, and that is because it appeared eBay shut down again overnight. In 9 hours, it was one sale or two sales and one offer, I think it was. And after looking at yesterday's numbers and that, I think, first and foremost, I think that's one of the biggest, I won't say one of the biggest, one of the things that seems to be different from before to now is these long hours overnight of just nothing. Now, I attribute them to shutting down and doing maintenance or updates because I can't figure out any other reasons why I used to do, $200 overnight, and now I do $15, sometimes $0, sometimes $30. So that big difference overnight, and a lot of that I notice is because of lack of international sales overnight. It's funny when people get on here and say, well, it's overnight, people are sleeping. Well, people don't sleep the same time all over the world. And I used to get a lot of international sales overnight. And that is virtually non-existent this year. So I always attribute it to, and the fact that, no offers come through, no emails. It just feels like my account is turned off. And going back to yesterday, is that because of it's an older account? So it's still getting updated or worked on or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But I noticed other little things here and there too that, like, in the last 3 years, my foundation materials, my hats, CDs, cassettes, vinyl records, and Major League Baseball items with t-shirts running a 6th spot have been consistent over the past 3 years as the top 5 and 6 items, if you will. Like number one has always been hats. And over the past 3 years, I have done almost $250,000 in sales in hats. So anybody who tries to throw, I heard somebody on a certain podcast try to throw shade at my dirty used hats. So petty. It's okay to be jealous, though. I appreciate it. So I looked at it and it was like $250,000 over 3 years I made on used hats. It's more like $245,000. So, the biggest drop off when I look back was from 2001 into 2002. Prior to 2002, there was only about 90,000 pre-owned hats on eBay, where now I think it's over 500,000 pre-owned hats on eBay. So a lot of that some of it could be attributed to my fault and other YouTubers who do hat videos and such people caught on and say, hey, hats are easy. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody started doing them, especially during the COVID time. So that was the biggest downfall in the hat world. I went from $120,000 sold in hats in 2021 to, I think it was like 60,000 in 2022. So my hat sales were cut in half due to the amount of hats that became available on eBay. So that was the biggest takeaway from the hats that I've seen. The next one would be a lot of my bulk buys were international and hats, and CDs and cassettes, but hats were one of them also. And I still get those every once in a while, and it's normally just about one person who keeps coming back, when I used to have a handful of repeat buyers. I think that's kind of gone away because so many people, at least on the hat level, so many people are doing it now, and they're just putting them up for $5 and $6. And I'm putting them up at $15, and then whatever the sale may be for the time period I put it up. But so that's taken away a lot of my hat sales. So I decided, I had decided before, when I noticed this before, that not to compete with that. Not to, it's just going to be a race to the downhill race. So I elected to stay out of that, and I'm hoping that this year that number will drop. People will be, if people are having lower sales and are going back to work, maybe some of my competition will fade away in that aspect. We'll see. I mean, I'm not banking on it, but so those were the two takeaways I took from the hat situation. Next up, we have the CDs and cassettes. CDs and cassettes over the past 3 years have made over $100,000. And there really hasn't been a huge change from one year to the next on my numbers. The biggest one being my bulk orders have kind of dissipated. And that, again, I'm attributing to international, because most of them were international sales. And so I'm curious with these shutdown overnights, with what feels like shutdown overnights, if it's like an indexing situation. Does it take a minute for my items to get back up, and then even to the international markets, and then they get shut down again at night, the next night, and so it never gets ramped back up? I don't know. So there's not much difference between those, except for the lack of bulk orders. I tried to fix that with the free shipping for the US on the bulk orders, but I'm wondering if I need to do something. And for international, it's really fairly cheap. It's like a full price for the first item and $2 for each additional. But the problem is nobody knows that unless they ask me. You can't, or add it to cart. You can't tell. And I think it was Miss Lachey said, adding it to the description. I used to add it to the description, like my combined shipping charges. It used to be in the description. But what I found over time is if you change it, then you've got all these listings with the old pricing in it, and there's no easy way to change that. So that's why I kind of got away from doing that. Because you never know what the future is going to hold with postage. I mean, it goes up twice a year. So these days it's too volatile of a market in the shipping world to stick to something. Unfortunately, they don't make it easy. And then the others were vinyl records, which hasn't really changed much. Major League Baseball, I think, took the biggest plunge from like 2021 to 2022. Second biggest plunge. Hats were the biggest plunge. But Major League Baseball took the big. So I guess maybe the Cardinals were doing good that year. I'm not sure. No, because that was kind of COVID year. So maybe it was just the extra money. People were buying baseball items, I guess, for me. So, but other than that, it hasn't changed much. And then t-shirts, I didn't really get into t-shirts. It popped up into the top 5, but it was number 6 on the other ones, the other 2 years. So I didn't really run the numbers on the t-shirts. And I know now I'm stepping up the t-shirts, so at least I'll be back in that game. So I'm just trying to piece all this together and say, okay, what can I do differently now to start that those decreases, start making up for those decreases that's been going on. So that's where I'm at right now. Identifying the changes, the differences, and what can be done about it. Like this overnight thing, I can't think of anything I can do to, I mean, if I am being shut down overnight, there's nothing I can do about it. But what can I do to test that, to see if that's a case? Do I when my sale ends, do I kind of just do day sales and then overnight do like a 50% off and see if anything moves? And then it's only for like 12 hours overnight or maybe even 10 hours overnight. So I'm not sure. So like everything stopped for me at 11 o'clock last night, my time. So that's 9 o'clock California time. And there's one that might be a payment from the offer. Yep. That's a payment from the offer I took. So we could actually be over. We are over. We're at 9.5 hours now. And that offer did pay though. So what's causing that huge blank overnight that I never had before these issues on the website started, or these changes, if you will? So I think that's the biggest hurdle right now for me is, what can I do about this overnight thing? Is there anything I can do to change it up to see if it changes anything? The next would be the hat department. Well, there's really nothing I can do about the hats with more competition except list more items, because then what will work in my favor are the unique items, the unique hats that I enjoy listing. Like a lot of my competition that grew, they're getting hats that they recognize, where I'll get hats that nobody will recognize. So my strong point could be in this area. So more hats. I think more hats will fix that and get that number back up. And that is based on the fact that there's more competition. So if my competition grew bigger, I need to grow bigger. So in the hat department, list more hats. That should help the hat sales. The CDs and cassettes have been about the same. The changes I made with the CDs and cassettes is getting rid of the low dollar stuff and putting them up to $9.95 and working from there, which doesn't seem to have slowed down the amount of items. So that alone should bring the dollar amount up. So I'll know more with history on that, since that hasn't been that long thus far. I will probably get a good hint at the end of the month when I look at break it down. Let me see where we're at right at the moment for CDs and cassette sales for this month compared to last month. So CDs, I'm actually down 10%, but cassettes, I'm up 24%. And like I said many times before, I haven't listed many cassettes at all. And the fact that they're up 24% is a good indication there. CDs down 10%. Let me do last year compared to last year. But see, my average per item is up 12%. So compared to last year, my average per item's up 25%. My CDs are down 31. My cassettes are down 60 compared to last year. Cassettes, that's because I haven't listed much. I haven't really listed that many CDs actually either, so. But I mean, everything's down compared to last year. Everything's down an average of 30% overall from last year. So yeah, that's what I'm working with, and trying to break each one of my foundation items down individually and say, okay, what do I need to do here, here, and here? So I think with the CDs and the cassettes, I did the right move thus far. It does eliminate the volume game, but does bring the dollar per item up. So I'm sticking with that. And then also I'm doing anything that's that I would normally put up for 420 that there might be like, I'm sticking around like 25 or more. If there's 25 or more, then I'm not putting it up. It's going into a 3-disc lot for $9.95, if you will. So I'm going to try that game. Haven't done any CDs like that yet. I got a stack that I may work on today, because I want to put kind of like titles together, if you will. So cassettes, list more. I know for a fact if I list more cassettes, those numbers will go up. I just got to get to them. They're in storage where I can't get to them right now, unfortunately. So got to figure that one out. And hats, list more. Boom, boom, boom. So I think that's the two there. And then the t-shirts, build back the t-shirts so they can get back up into the, really start competing in the top 5 and switching things out, if you will. So like this month, like t-shirts is at number 4 this month. And my Cardinal stuff has dropped way down. So Cardinals had a bad year this year, so that's expected. So t-shirts came up and took its place. But those, again, are also down 30% from last year. But I would think they would be up from last month. Let's see. Nope, down 7% from last month, actually. So still down. But at number 4. So that's what I'm doing. I'm rethinking my foundation items individually as to the best move. And then beyond that is building beyond the foundation items. As I said before, you know, your foundation items are going to be your money that's going to be a consistent money every month. And for the most part, it is. So the way I got to kind of look at it is, if there's a downturn, say, in the economy and or like the overnight sales department, how can I make up for that? Well, foundation items probably won't make up for that unless I am doing like a consistent bulk uploads. So finding those oddballs stuff, like Jan's Christmas stuff, or, you know, finding high dollar pops, stuff to build on the foundation items. That's what's going to kind of offset those down areas. So that's where I am. My head is headed now with that situation. But I think the biggest takeaway for you guys is know your numbers. Know exactly what's going on across the board and pay attention to them. And even though I pay attention to the numbers, I never really thought about breaking them down individually until yesterday. on the foundation items, looking at them individually instead of looking at the whole thing as a whole. So everything's broken down: hats, CDs, cassettes. And then, okay, problem areas: overnight sales, hat competition grew. So what can I do to counteract those? Is there anything I can do with those items? Do I bring in an extra foundation item that I can get an abundance of also? Do I maybe I change my, continue building the t-shirts and look at them as a foundation item and adding them to the mix more full time than it was prior. So adding another layer of foundation there, another security blanket, if you will. So that's where I'm at. So hope that makes sense. Let's do a couple questions and comments, and then I've got TrueGather, Poshmark, and eBay. All right. James, if you ever felt you could no longer stay on eBay, which other platforms would you migrate your business to? Well, hopefully that will never happen, and hopefully eBay will get back up and going properly. But that's a tough question. I think what I would probably do at this point is, like, if eBay totally disappeared or something like that, it won't happen, but say that happened. First thing I would do is probably move everything to Poshmark. And then I think I would start building something outside on my own. The problem with building on your own is the amount of money it takes to get traffic to your store. But with social media, with YouTube, it's a lot easier. It can be easier these days, or done differently, than just pouring a lot of money into it. So I'd probably push everything over to Posh to try to, hopefully that would sustain and pay the bills while I build something on my own or outside of eBay, whether it's Shopify shop or whatever, and just create my own branding outside of eBay. That's probably what I would do. Been selling on eBay since 2004. Always a good place to get some quick sells of good items. My search results feel stuck and no offers, minimal views, and no sales. Sucks. Nobody is buying anything. All the money went to OnlyFans, influencers, merch in Ukraine. LOL. Yeah, and that's another thing. Competition is a lot greater in 2023 than it was prior. All those outside companies have grown. Mercari has grown. Poshmark has grown. Hell, even Amazon's still growing. eBay, it feels like the only one that's kind of falling away. Then you have the more startup ones, the newerish ones, the whatnots. And now this district thing popping up. I signed into it, the district thing, but I can't figure out how to open a store there. I looked and didn't really find no options, so I don't know if I'm not looking right in the right places. So I can't figure out how to open a store there or whatever. So I haven't put too much time into that yet. So that might be something in the future. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't think it's widely known enough yet for any. Hell, I even have a hard time finding. If you just Google district, it's nowhere to be found. So you have to actually type in district.net to get to it and to even find it. So I have a bunch of watchers with no offers for 6 months. I wonder if they can make offers, period. Yeah. There's been an issue with the offers, so it's been going on for at least 6 months. More than that for me, but I am a new seller, so I don't have much experience, but I keep hearing people say sells 8 down and some blaming algorithms. But I have been selling more than ever, but it's stuff like electronic replacement plugs, phone cases, and clothing. So I believe sales 8 down, 8 slow. Simply, I think you're hitting T instead of R. Are slow simply because we're living in tough times and people are buying what they need. Just my opinion. Well, if you're a new seller too, that's the thing. It's going to feel like you're always growing because you're starting at the ground level. If you're starting at the worst level, no matter what you do, you're going to see something and it's going to be growth for you. So you have a totally different perspective than somebody who's been selling for 15, 20, 25 years. We've seen years and years of certainty and then it fall apart or it change, however you want to look at it, where you're coming in at that change and at that falling. So any little thing you do you're going to see results from. So different perspective. The same guy bought 16 8-tracks from me. I sold 40 8-tracks that needed restoration to one guy in California. Awesome. Watching your videos and an Etsy ad comes up. Go figure. I told you months ago Etsy was going to be pounding this holiday season. Everybody is, and it's leaving except eBay. That's why it feels like eBay is just in this money grab situation where they don't care about anything except grabbing as much money as they possibly can right now. Which is, I mean, is that, what reason's behind that? Is that a control reason? Is that to bring your stock up reason? Is that for a potential sell reason? Or is that just to pad yourself on a even bigger change that may be coming? Whether that's adding all the little things that everybody else is doing into the eBay platform and making it more known. Like everybody keeps talking about eBay has a live thing now. I've never seen nothing about a live on eBay. So if they have one, I know nothing about it. And I'm on eBay 12 hours a day and don't see anything about that. So they are putting my items up for auction and also changing my best offers to 50% off by my asking price. I'm constantly chasing the errors. Who has time to list when the system is like this? Well, I'm thankful I haven't had those issues. Wow. But you're not the only one that's saying there's something definitely off in that whole offer world. And it's been like that for a while now. James, love your work, even that damn puppet. I am a small seller and not very good. My stuff is not flying out the door on other platforms, but I have noticed an interesting occurrence. I have been slowly ending my older items and selling similar. Some of my relisted items have sold on other platforms, but none on eBay. Again, proof of my ignorance. But what has happened on 5 occasions now is a different listing I have posted around the same time sells. Because my store is so small, I track everything in spreadsheets. The first couple of times I thought coincidence, but now I'm up to 5. Screw the haters. Please don't stop doing podcasts with others. What I notice on the days that I end and sell similar, like I'll do 1,000 to 2,000 per day. I'm taking a couple weeks off because all my items were like 3.5 months or newer. So I wait till they get closer to 4 and over. So on days I do it, I'll get like a flurry of sales of one item, like a CD. Say Say most of the items I end and sell similar at day are CDs. I will notice in about an hour, hour and a half after, I'll start getting 3 or 4 or 5 sales on CDs. Not just one person, but several different buyers. And I'll look to see if it was an item that was relisted today, because I want to know if that stuff's moving. And what I do notice is it's almost like, I want to say probably 2 months, 2 to 3 months to the day of the day I listed, those items will be selling, which I always found odd. And that's a consistent thing too, I've noticed. So if like today I did 1,000, 2,000 CDs at 11:28, then all of a sudden I will see a consistent sales on like items I listed around 9:28. And it will all be about the same day, within a day of each other. And I'm like, that's just odd that it happens like that. But then maybe there's something else to it. I don't know. But I always found it very odd. But I never really looked into it because there could be other variables that might be causing that too. So, but I have noticed that pattern that I just described. Oh, some comments you get are crazy, like too much talk. You have to talk to do a video. It's funny. People are weird. People are strange. But strange can be good. All right, let's do some shipping. All right, I went ahead and printed up my Poshmark and my True Gather label. So on True Gather, we sold this Ripple hat for $9.50. Going to Georgia. Georgia. And then sold for $12 on Posh. We got this Bauer kids jacket. These bags suck. I should just throw these things away. Not worth the headache. It is pure junk. But what's not pure junk? My Giro Pack. Affiliate link below. Save 10% on your order. Yay, Giro Pack. Haven't promoted that in a while. Also, Vendoo. Thank you guys for using the Vendoo cross-posting affiliate link below. Save 25% on your first month. I'm over $1,100 in affiliate money, so thank you guys. And then I got another email because I never answered back to do a sponsored video for Vendoo. So they want to sponsor a video. So that's all because of you guys, so thank you. Okay, did I pull everything? I think. Oh yeah, that was the offer I took. Another one of Jan's wood nutcrackers sold $15. That was the offer I took. I got overnight. But if you notice, nothing else is sold. So it's still turned off. Kind of sucks. So, purchase shipping labels. And again, no international overnight. So, what do you expect if you only get one sale overnight? Or two? One? I don't remember. 2 sales, right? 2 sales, I think. Or was it one? Oh, 1 sale or 2 sales? 1 offer or 2 offers. One or the other. But that's the biggest question mark. And it's probably the biggest hurt of my sales at the end of the day. I mean, if I'm losing, say, $100 to $200 overnight because nothing is being bought when things used to, I mean, that's huge at the end of the day. Instead of having a $500 day, it'd be a $700 day every day. And on my $700 days, it'd be $900. We got a Rachel Roy dress. Been in the store for quite a while. Headed to Warrenton, Missouri. Sold for $866. Jerry. Next up, Sigma Pi, University of Missouri hat. Headed to Mobile, Alabama, sold for $6. Gateway truck and refrigeration hat, sold for $15, headed to Wisconsin. So I'm thinking, like, if my competition in the hat's 4 times when I did I think it was $120,000, I'd have to 4 times probably my inventory to keep up. So I have to take my hats from 13,000 to what, 50 plus thousand? Kevin. Yeah, Mizzou hat. Headed to Franklin, Tennessee, sold for $775. We've got Lynyrd Skynyrd, Greatest Hits CD, headed to Alabama. That seems fitting. Sold for $7. 4 ground. Okay. We've got Don McLean American Pie 45. Just put this one up day before yesterday, I believe. Sold for $9.95. Headed to Mississippi. So yeah, there was others up there. So this would have been a $4.20 item for me. So I put it up for the $9.95 and it sold. Or $4.19 item. Mississippi. Walt. This is one of those Disney JCPenney snow globes. This one's from 2006. Has sold for $10. Headed to Plano, Texas. I'll leave that unsealed so they can use that if they want to, instead of wasting it. Next up, Shaw's Turf Food. Yeah. Sold for $15. Headed to Knox, Indiana. See, so there was 2 generic hats that sold, and by generic I mean not your common hats that everybody would pick up, and they sold for $15 a piece. I think in the hats that's going to be my counter. How many people are going to find that particular hat or that one? And then if they do, how many are really going to buy it and list it? We got Best of Hall & Oates. Headed sold for $9.95. Headed to California. Yesterday listed 100 items, so I made it to my low end. Oh, let me see what my split was yesterday. Because we were in a good spot. Let's see how it ended. Yeah, not bad. 52 items sold, 35 promoted, 17 organic. So close to the 70-30 split that it should be. This morning, 2 promoted, 0 organic. Sales are just taking longer to turn back on than they have previous mornings. A military beret hat. Cardboard pieces. So That's the little tag on it. Headed to New York. Sold for $10. All right. Yeah, this whole overnight thing is the one that's got me the most perplexed on how to counter it, because I can't think of a way to counter it. Like, say it's not something technical, like being shut down. And it's not like I have crazy, international pricing for shipping. And mine's definitely cheaper than eBay's international shipping, if you're using that. But is that a reason? Maybe because I don't have that turned on with eBay, maybe it's doing something to suppress my items internationally, even though everything's set up for international. I gotta go look into that. Like, if I turned international on, would a buyer still be able to check out using my international instead of eBay's international? Maybe I should turn it on for a week and see if that changes anything. That might be a way an action to take. That might be something I might try to do. Turn it on for a week and see if my international sales pick up. Or even yet, my overnight sales pick up. Thunk. It's a thunk. At least 2 items here to resurface. Maybe 3. Let me check. Yeah, that one needs it too. So I got 3 items to resurface. All right. Thanks, everybody. And I gotta get to listing and stuff. So I'll see you all in the next video. Later.